Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. For nearly 50 years, Madisonville Marine has been selling the best new and used boats to East Tennesseans. Bob Hodge bought a used boat down there and loves it. Huge selection of boats, great prices, best customer service in the world. That's how you get to be a boat dealer for nearly 50 years. There's no better place to buy a boat. I've been telling you that for more than 15 years. Madmarine.com. Highway 411 North in Madisonville, whichever way you want to check it out, that's the place to check out right now if you're in the market for a boat. Okay, last week we talked on this show about Tennessee's current position, number 2 in the nation in recruiting. We looked at it and said, it looks pretty good in terms of a top 5 finish nationally. And then you and I spoke this week, and I went and dug into the numbers and went back and looked at history. That isn't the case. They've still got quite a lot of work to do when you look at past performance. So that's what we're going to do right here. Let me go ahead and explain what you're going to see here on your screen. This is just the SEC, all right? Tennessee's, and this is all of their 2021 classes, is the far left column. That's Tennessee with 252 points. Now at 247.com, each recruit is worth a point value according to their scouts. So we always talk 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. There is a range of points within the 5-star ranking, the 4-star ranking. So we're just looking at the points. Tennessee, 50 points ahead of the next closest competitor in the SEC, which is Florida. Next to that, the column to the right of that, those are the 3-year averages for each of these schools. So Tennessee is basically where they have averaged in terms of their finish the last 3 years. All right, 253 is where they've averaged. They're at 252 now. The far right column, well, they're only 1.26 points off their average. Okay, and that gives you an idea of just how Florida and LSU have work to do. Georgia, minus 154. Alabama's way down there at 9th in the conference right now, but they're at 116 in terms of their points. They average about 305. Jimmy, my guess is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and it is a pandemic year, so who knows, but I would expect Alabama, Georgia, LSU, all those groups to wind up about where they've wound up the last 3, 5, 7 years. Would you not?
Yes, I would, and I don't know a reason that they wouldn't, so I would expect that. One of the reasons the numbers are a bit low, as you pointed out there, is that a lot of those schools don't have nearly as many commitments as Tennessee has. So Tennessee has quantity and quality. A lot of these others just have the quantity. They don't have that many people that have been signed that right now. That gives them a lot more upward mobility.
And the question becomes for Tennessee, not only continuing to build your own class, but you've got kids from Georgia, you've got kids from Alabama. Mm-hmm. Alabama and Georgia are typically going to rise. Do they rise at your expense? I mean, I would expect Alabama and Georgia and Florida are going to continue to recruit their own kids that have committed to Tennessee already. Ryan, your thoughts on where Tennessee is compared to their SEC mates right now?
Yeah, I think it's a good way to sort of quantify what I've been telling people for the last couple of weeks, which is this is a great run. It's given Tennessee a chance to have a really good class, but even right now, with theoretically room for only 4 more players, their number would not guarantee them a top 10 class, much less a top 5 class. So they still have work to do. It gives you a chance to build on this, and if they continue to obviously upgrade some of these guys, maybe some of their current commitments rise in the rankings. That can always help you, and there's a lot to be changed in the coming months about the rankings. So there's plenty that could change this, but yeah, they've got to add 10, 15 more points to that total just to be comfortable with the top 10 finish. There are 6 SEC teams, as you listed there, that have a 269 or better average over the last 3 years. They're still 16 points away from that, so you've got to add quite a bit to this class.
Yeah, and I don't want to, this isn't undercutting their incredible run the last few weeks that we've been talking about, because it has been unprecedented in terms of my memory, a run like they've been on. What this is more of, let's stack it up like building blocks and let you see, okay, here's where we are. If you're looking at, so number 2 in the country, it seems like you're here, as we discussed last week. But the reality is, you're actually here. You still got to get to here. You've had this great run to get to here, but you still got to get here. That's what we're showing. Interesting note in looking at these numbers. And it's also how we view things based on star rankings and ratings. Tennessee, everyone celebrated last year their top 10 class. More so than the previous year when they finished 13th in 24/7's rankings. They had more points in 2019 than they did the 2020 class. There was more talent, according to your scouts, in the 2019 class than there was the 2020 class, but because there were fewer teams ahead of them last year, that looks like the better recruiting class. But if you're looking at just points by your scouts, the better year was 2019, not 2020.
And you know what that goes back to? That 2019 class was filled with more stars. You had 4, I think, top 100 players in that class. In this past class, just 1, and none of them were 5 stars. Keyshawn Lawrence and Harrison Bailey were the only 2 top 100 players in the 24/7 Sports Composite in Tennessee's class. So yeah, you've got to continue to build on what you've done. They've gotten off to a good start, but if they don't add more of these 4- and 5-star types, the Georgias, Alabamas, LSUs, they will pass them by the end of the year if Tennessee doesn't continue to build.
Okay, and let's put a final stake through this in terms of where they finish. All right, Tennessee's 2021 number versus past SEC classes. What you've got, those are the 3-year averages for the first place in the SEC, second place. So Tennessee's at 252 points right now. If you look at the last 3 years, that would wind up about 7th or 8th in the SEC if you just stop. Now, they're not going to stop right now, but that gives you perspective on how much more they need to do. It's number 2 in the nation right now. They're still going to need 30 more points, somewhere around there, to finish top 3 in the SEC based on history. So there's a lot of work to be done. Jimmy, does that quell any optimism, or do you think, where they are, where they're going, you think they'll wind up top 3 in the SEC, top 5 in the country? Where are you on this?
Well, it shouldn't quell optimism, because I think that you need to hold on to what you can, and Tennessee hadn't had great success in football for a while, right? So you take whatever you can get. But, and I agree with Ryan's point, that you still got 4, maybe 5 spots, who knows. You need to be bringing in 4 or 5-star caliber players, or the ratings could go up a little bit. But you're guaranteed, you know, that Alabama and Georgia and LSU and some of these other programs are going to rise in the ratings. So, and you may recruit over some of your 3 stars and bring in a 4 or a 5, whatever. But I think Tennessee needs to continue this. But I would not throw any water over the success they've had so far, because now you're in a great position where you can be more selective in the ones that you bring in at this point, I would think, with the 21 commits.
Yeah, I would rather be in Tennessee shoes right now. I mean, it's hard to say I'd rather be in Tennessee shoes than Alabama's, because usually they just turn on the spigot and 5 stars fall out. But if you gave me the choice of starting right here in May with the kind of numbers Tennessee has, I'd take that all day, every day. So I'm not trying to poo-poo what they've done so far, but it is interesting that it's a building block. You've still got a ways to go.
Well, and Tennessee leads Power 5 programs in commitments right now. That's the key to what we're saying. Alabama, teams like that, they're still down around 5 commitments, so that obviously the numbers are going to catch up. But the big thing is the first 10 commitments for Tennessee, 1 4-star among them. That's why we're talking about the numbers being where they are. They've got to continue to upgrade that quality if they want to be in that top 5 at the end.
Which is the harsh reality of recruiting. That you get a lot of 3 stars to help you build the momentum, and then if you recruit over them, sorry guys.
And as Jimmy said, they're hot right now. So they're adding to this too, because other players around the country are seeing them. They're wanting to get in, and Tennessee now can sell. We're tight on numbers. If you want to commit, you need to go ahead and do it now. So there's a lot of things working in Tennessee's favor as a result of what they've done lately.
All right, very good. If there are schools that can't play football this fall, and there probably will be, should the NCAA allow those football players the ability to transfer elsewhere? We'll debate that. That's next. Come on back.